€8.96. That's exactly what I paid last week to own my own piece of the internet. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what that means, how it works, and why you probably need one too. Right now, you're most likely renting your digital life. Your email is owned by Google or Apple, and your social media following is controlled by an algorithm. If those platforms change their rules or lock your account, your digital identity could vanish overnight. But there is one thing online that you can truly own, all for less than the price of 2 coffees. A domain name. Most people think a domain is a website. It's not. Think of the internet as a massive, endless city with millions of buildings. Every website in the world lives inside one of those buildings. And to find one, you need an address. That's what a domain name is. And just like a real address has a street, a city, and a country, a domain also has 3 parts. Let's take blog.practicaltechdecoded.com as an example. Reading from right to left, the first part is the top-level domain. Think of it as the country. For example, .com means commercial and it's global. .de means Germany, and .io is popular with tech startups. Next is the domain name. This represents your identity and your brand. And finally, on the left, you have the subdomain. These can be anything like blog, shop, or contact. Think of these as specific entrances to different departments in your building. While we find names like google.com easy to remember, computers use long strings of numbers called Internet Protocol addresses, or IPs. To bridge the gap, we use the domain name system, or DNS. Remember the time before smartphones? If you wanted to call a pizzeria, you had to look up their name in the phone book to get their number. The internet does the exact thing with the DNS. When you type google.com in your browser, the DNS looks up the actual IP address behind it so that your browser can open the website. The whole process takes milliseconds, so you'll never see it happening, but without it, the internet as we know it simply wouldn't work. But most people confuse the terms domain, hosting, and website, so let's break them down one by one. The domain we already spoke about. It's your address and you can rent it from a company called domain registrar, typically for a year at a time. Hosting is the server space where your website's files actually live. In our city analogy, it's the plot of land your building sits on. You can rent physical space on a computer somewhere in the world, but that's a topic we will cover in a later video. The website is the actual building, basically what people see and interact with. It's important to note that these 3 are completely separate. You can buy your domain from one company, your hosting from another, and build your website with a third. They are connected through DNS, but they don't have to come from the same place. A lot of hosting companies will try to sell you all 3 in one bundle, and while that is not necessarily bad, it will lock you in. Keeping things separate gives you flexibility. You can move your website, switch providers, or change setups without starting from scratch. So, why does any of these actually matter? First, credibility. If you're using a generic .gmail address for anything serious, you're leaving trust on the table. Just look at these 2 emails side by side. Which one do you trust with your bank details? One looks like a hobby, while the other looks like a business. Second, ownership. Right now, you don't own your Instagram following or your YouTube channel. The platforms do. If an algorithm changes or your account gets locked, your identity vanishes. A domain is the only digital asset that is legally yours. Even if you don't build a full website today, registering yourname.com for the price of 2 coffees a year is the best brand insurance you can buy. Now, if you want a domain, how do you actually buy one without getting ripped off? Because this is where a lot of people make mistakes, and companies know that. For my domain, I use Cloudflare, because they sell domains at cost without adding a profit margin. For beginners, Porkbun and Namecheap are also excellent options. But you need to be careful. Some of the biggest names in the industry, like GoDaddy, are famous for the renewal trap. They'll sell you a domain for €1 in the first year, then quietly charge you €20 or more every year after that. So, before you click buy, check these 3 things. First, is the renewal price the same as the starting price? Second, the WHOIS privacy, because without it, your full name, address and email are publicly listed in the searchable database called the WHOIS directory. Most good registrars include privacy protection for free. If it costs extra, that's a red flag. Third, auto-renew should always be turned on. Losing a domain because you forgot to renew is a nightmare you don't want to deal with. So yeah, €8.96 is all it took to start owning a piece of the internet. In future videos, I'll show you how to connect this domain to a site, set up a website, and create your own professional email. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss those steps. Tech is complicated enough. Your tutorials shouldn't be. I'm Raoul, and I'll see you in the next one.